Former All Blacks wing Jeff Wilson has urged New Zealand Rugby, NZR, to strike the right balance in their search for the next New Zealand National Rugby Union team head coach, warning that while caution is essential, prolonged indecision could prove costly. With Scott Robertson's unexpected departure in mid-January, the All Blacks are once again in transition. The process to appoint his successor has now stretched into a second month, and although there were indications that an announcement was imminent, confirmation has been pushed back to March. That delay has sparked debate within New Zealand's rugby community, particularly given the scale of preparation required ahead of a pivotal international calendar. The clock is ticking. New Zealand's next test match is not until July, when the inaugural Nations Championship kicks off, but Wilson believes the time between now and then will vanish rapidly. Appearing on Sky Sports The Breakdown, the former All Black star acknowledged that NZR must not rush into a decision. Yet he stressed that the governing body cannot afford to drift. "I don't want them to rush into this," Wilson explained. "It would be worse if they didn't get the right guy. But by the same token, they still have to make a decision." His concern is not about due diligence. It is about momentum. Wilson understands that appointing an All Blacks head coach is one of the most consequential decisions in New Zealand sport. The position carries immense national expectation, commercial significance, and global scrutiny. However, he argues that thoroughness does not have to mean delay. If the field has effectively narrowed to two frontrunners, Wilson suggests the process should now accelerate. Every day without clarity compresses the time available for strategic planning, staff appointments, squad evaluation, and tactical alignment. Preparing for a new cycle, the upcoming 18 months are critical for the All Blacks. With the next Rugby World Cup on the horizon, the new head coach will not simply oversee a series of tests. They will define the direction of New Zealand rugby through a complete competitive cycle. Wilson emphasized that shaping a game plan is only the beginning. The modern All Blacks environment requires coordination across multiple layers, from coaching and medical teams to performance analysts and leadership groups. Decisions must be made about which players form the spine of the squad, how emerging Super Rugby talent is integrated, and how tactical frameworks evolve in response to global trends. You need time to discuss deeply about some of the foreign players in Super Rugby who you might give an opportunity to, Wilson said. The 2025 season saw an expansive squad utilized, reflecting experimentation and injury cover. The next coach must determine whether to continue that broad approach or refine the group into a tighter, more defined unit. Either way, that work cannot be left until the eve of international competition. That a demanding schedule ahead logistical challenges compound the urgency. The All Blacks are scheduled to tour South Africa for the first time since 1996, a historic and demanding assignment against the world champions. Touring the Republic requires meticulous planning, from travel logistics and conditioning strategies to psychological preparation for one of rugby's most intimidating environments. Organizing that tour is no small undertaking. Management teams must be appointed, coaching staff finalized, medical and performance units aligned, travel and acclimatization schedules coordinated. The longer NZR waits to confirm its head coach, the tighter those timelines become. There's a lot to do and not very long, Wilson warned. His message reflects experience. Having played 60 tests for New Zealand, Wilson understands the margins at the highest level. Preparation time is not a luxury. It is a competitive advantage. The Jamie Joseph factor complicating matters are reports of tension within the recruitment process. According to the New Zealand Herald, leading candidate Jamie Joseph is understood to be miffed after observers reportedly attended his coaching sessions to take notes as part of the assessment. While evaluation is standard in high-performance hiring, the optics of such scrutiny have sparked discussion. For an experienced international coach like Joseph, whose resume includes significant achievements in Japan and Super Rugby, the process may feel intrusive. Wilson did not directly criticize NZR's methods, but acknowledged that prolonged procedures risk alienating candidates and eroding goodwill. The longer uncertainty lingers, the more challenging the task becomes for whoever ultimately steps into the role. It's all well and good talking about a game plan, Wilson said, but you got to put your leadership group in place, the guys you know you're going to select, and then you start talking about the capabilities at the highest level. That sequence, leadership first, tactics second, underscores Wilson's belief that culture and structure are inseparable from performance. Strategic alignment and Super Rugby form another variable complicating the timeline: the shifting landscape of Super Rugby. Wilson pointed out that team performances can vary significantly from week to week, affecting selection debates and long-term planning. The scope and the way New Zealand teams are playing in Super Rugby this weekend compared to last weekend was different. He noted that in a competition known for attacking flair and evolving tactical experimentation, assessing players requires context. Form, positional versatility, defensive contribution, and leadership qualities must all be evaluated. The new head coach will need sufficient time to analyze trends and identify those capable of translating domestic excellence to the test arena. This evaluation cannot occur in isolation. It requires dialogue between selectors, analysts, and regional coaches. It demands clarity of vision about how the All Blacks intend to play, whether doubling down on high-tempo, expansive rugby, or integrating more pragmatic, territorial elements in response to global competition. The 100-day window. Wilson framed the challenge in stark terms. Approximately 100 days remain before the All Blacks must be fully operational. You're talking about 100 days, he said. Well, those 100 days can disappear very, very quickly. In high-performance sport, 100 days is both substantial and fleeting. It is enough time to reshape culture, but only if decisive leadership is in place. Without clarity, planning stalls. Conversations multiply without resolution. Momentum dissipates. Wilson was careful to reiterate that he does not advocate haste at the expense of quality. The All Blacks' identity and global standing demand a meticulous selection process. Yet he insists that thoroughness must be matched by efficiency. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be done thoroughly. It does, he concluded. But it doesn't necessarily have to drag out. Balancing patience and urgency at its core, Wilson's warning is about balance. The stakes are enormous. New Zealand Rugby supporters expect excellence, and the All Blacks brand remains synonymous with sustained success. The next head coach will inherit both opportunity and pressure. Rushing the appointment could lead to misalignment, internal friction, or strategic confusion. But allowing uncertainty to persist risks compressing preparation and undermining cohesion. The ideal outcome lies somewhere in between. A decision made with conviction, supported by comprehensive evaluation, and announced in time to allow genuine preparation before July's Nations Championship opener. The bigger picture beyond immediate logistics, the appointment represents a philosophical crossroads. The global rugby landscape is evolving. South Africa's physical dominance, France's depth, and Ireland's tactical cohesion have redefined benchmarks. New Zealand must determine how best to respond. Does the All Blacks blueprint require refinement or reinvention? Should emphasis be placed on youth integration or experience continuity? How will player welfare, rotation policies, and overseas eligibility debates factor into long-term planning? These are strategic questions the next head coach must address, and each demands time. That Wilson's intervention reflects a broader anxiety within New Zealand rugby circles. Transition periods inevitably invite scrutiny, yet they also offer opportunity. The right appointment could usher in a new era of innovation and success. The wrong one could destabilize confidence at a critical juncture. That conclusion. Jeff Wilson's message to New Zealand rugby is clear. Patience is necessary, but indecision is dangerous. The All Blacks' next chapter must be shaped deliberately, yet efficiently.